And I think
wrestling is grueling. Yeah. Wrestling is grueling.
And I'm careful about how much that I bite off, but I always make sure to bite off something, you know? And then that's the key. It's the balance. Because then if you do a wrestling practice and you're being competitive, well, usually every time I get competitive, there's a little tweak or there's a little something. And then now you take the next morning, this is all a method too of thinking we're training every day.
Yeah.
So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometimes Saturday, and they're sparring on Saturdays hard. So all this has to be a method where we can do these things every single day. They have a positive outcome in terms of the lymphatic drainage, active recovery elements, and it's the first portion of every day. But like I said, some of what gets put up is really what I feel like is more applicable to the everyday person.
Talking about like the stuff you put up on Instagram?
The movement and the different flows and techniques. But the philosophy is based off of what I said earlier about we don't really condition flow, right? It's something we don't condition, but we all seek to attain. And what I'm saying is that there's a method to train to help your body and your brain achieve states of flow. But it's a practice, and it comes through focus of movements that A, cross the midline, B, allow for lateral movement of the eyes, and C, can allow you a full expansion and compression of the breathing mechanism.
By the way, what would you describe flow as being like? Because, when a lot of people may have never been in a state of flow with something. So what would you describe it like?
So like we were talking about, Patrick's talking about the mind muscle, and a lot of those isolation to the spot in the body. Mm-hmm. What flow is, it's the central nervous system in the body in its most efficient state, where you're disconnected from the body in a way where I'm going to grab that can, I'm going to put it down. And now there's this trust in now I'm in a place of witness. That's the most efficient state. And that's why I said the spiritual state of consciousness, when we have spiritual experiences, those are flow states that are legitimately, they are flow. It's the same experience.
You don't have any inhibition of movement. Your body's just moving and it's doing what it knows how to do at its highest level.
It's like you're fully aware of your body and yet unaware of it at the exact same moment. Mm-hmm. So there's a balance between your conscious thinking about the body, but then there's like this faith. It's actually a faith that it's there, it's efficient. Neurologically, it's when you're not, because the idea is that if I'm in flow, that stops it. Like the recognition of flow itself is the quickest way to stop it.
That's the most,
right?
Yeah, that is, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So just think about that. So what is recognizing flow? It's basically the part of your brain that writes a narrative, and that's telling a story, the one that's concerned about the world as seen through Mark looking at me versus me looking at Mark. And that's a part of, now that's an opportunity to focus yourself in and to detach this psychological thing that we've done from the fact we wanted our coaches to be proud of us when we performed that drill. Mm-hmm. And we stood there in line and we held these postures like Dr. Beliza talked about. A lot of these things that we these traps that we fall into, it's based off of how we are. It's all right. I'll give you another analogy. A 12, 13-year-old girl in a high school classroom, they are literally do not want to be called on, do not want to be seen. Mm-hmm. They're collapsing into themselves, and their posture is a representation of their experience, right? And not only that, but if you monitor their hormones, right? And that's that whole world that's really well documented and understood with Dr. Amy Cuddy.
Dr. who? Amy Cuddy?
Dr. Amy Cuddy, yeah. And was a huge influence on me to just change the perspective and realize that, wow, we're dramatically influencing our hormone levels. And what she does is she'll have people stand in powerful positions in front of a mirror, right?
Power Project family, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. Now, Mark, Andrew, and myself have been cold plunging for a while now. We actually use the Cold Plunge XL. But the reason why this has become part of our daily routine every single day is because of honestly how good it makes us feel coming out of that water. Now, if you want to take a cold shower, that is beneficial and you need to be doing that if you don't have a cold plunge. But if you do get a cold plunge that goes all the way down to 39 degrees, it's crazy because Andrew Huberman actually talked about the benefits of dopamine post-cold plunging. Now, cocaine gives you a 2.5 rise in your dopamine release. Cold plunging gives you that also, but it also gives you a sustained higher level of dopamine throughout your day. That's just one of the benefits, as there are many. So if you guys want to get on it, Andrew, how can they?
Oh, yes. You guys got to head over to thecoldplunge.com and check out, enter promo code PowerProject to save $150 off. And before we drop off here, I do have to say that this has been the absolute best thing I have ever done for my mental health. Every single day I get in this cold plunge and I come out a happier, more positive, and more vibrant human. I can't recommend this enough. Again, thecoldplunge.com, promo code PowerProject to save $150 off. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
For 2 minutes, and you get a 30% increase in testosterone.
By the way, guys, you remember that episode with Bedros where we literally asked him, hey, you know, if you wake up, you have some bad thoughts, what do you do? He stands in front of a mirror. I love myself. I'm
naked.
great.
Naked. Jumping up and down.
It's energetic. You're activating the body, but you're addressing these feelings through a practice. You're not just, no, I feel bad. Let me just grab my keys and go to work. No, you're saying, no, I'm not tolerating this. Like, I'm more than this. And these feelings I have aren't me. Like, I'm who I want to be. I'm making me right now. And you visualize yourself in a powerful state. And then all of a sudden you start to feel that. And it might take 2 minutes, right? That's like the thing, even with those flows that we're talking about. That 2 minute interval is kind of, for me, a magic sticking point because we lose.
So you're talking about like when athletes are back to the flow thing, because you mentioned how athletes want to get into a state of flow, but they never train anything to get into flow. So if you can describe some of the things that you think help athletes get into flow, you're saying that they should be doing those for like 2 minutes?
That's the thing. Counting is counterproductive to flow.
Yeah.
Reps, all this stuff, anything that's essentially a label, numbers, count, anything. So that's the idea, is that we're trying to condition a mind-body connection. You're taking this really compound motion in this really well-established neurologic pattern that our ancestors, like the reason we have it is because of the things that they did to survive, right? They had to have their eyes in a position of observation. That's why our spine needs to do what it does. That's why that's why the shoulder needs to move, because if it doesn't get out the way for this one to reach forward, my eyes can't see behind me. So if I'm reaching that way and that shoulder's still there, see, I can only see it there. Versus there. But that's the idea. It's like, if we think about it in those contexts, you're like, okay, it's just this ancestral thought, like my ancestors threw spears, and in doing so, they had to do this stuff. So even though I'm a power lifter, my lat is a deceleration spring. So its job is actually to absorb and decelerate my arm as it propels itself through space. And that fascial braking system, the lat's kind of one of the primary braking systems, that posterior chain that anchors the pelvis to the shoulder. So that's the purpose and function.
People have done some wild shit. Like if you think about somebody shooting like a bow and arrow while they're riding a fucking horse, it's like, holy shit, like the rotation and you're the horse, like that would be so fucking, like a lot of things that we've done in our past, it would be so difficult.
And that's what I feel like.
Things that were probably worked on a lot because we probably were just very physical every day.
And that's the thing. That to me is more, that's me saying like, that's actually my being. That's what actually I was born with. And the fact I can't do it means that at some point I've lost it. But what I learned is you haven't lost it. It's actually neurologically, it's just like code in a computer. You just have, the programming still in a place called your basal ganglia that is it's basically a button you push and it has this giant expression, right, of neural activity that makes it really efficient, right? And that's through the same thing with the winning. It's the reps, right? And that's what's pushing that neurologic pattern into a deeper and deeper and deeper, deeper place of expression, where now when the button gets pushed, you get this really complex expression of movement, but it comes from one button instead of 6, right? And that efficiency that's built into itself. So now I can use that pattern and that connection and that trust to that very simple neurologic efficiency, and now bring it into a place where I can create perpetual movement and flow with a paraball or a Bulgarian bag, right?
Can you pull up some of that? Because he has like a lot of stuff on his Instagram with.
There's some
the
research
parabol
too
and
that things of this nature, and maybe you're aware of it, things of this nature can really help a lot with anxiety, right?
It is the mechanism to address anxiety.
Just going on something like a swing, right?
It is the mechanism because, like I said, every animal except for us, move their body and do things to address their emotions.
So you can take a 20-pound dumbbell or one of these special balls.
So he's a rookie.
Right?
So he don't have a lot of experience.
He's a rookie.
So I'm teaching. No, I'm teaching. But the thing is, watch is from going from a complete novice, and then look at it clean up. Look at the length in the upper part of the arc, right?
And now he's getting more confident.
And now look at the right leg where he's posting and controlling the whole movement with the grounded leg as the body rotates and pivots around that. And now what I'm doing here is I'm pulling the back leg a little bit, but the focus is the front leg and thinking of the full extension.
Oh, now he's moving great.
Right.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So you're utilizing the weight and the momentum.
Hey, I know you guys enjoyed the video, so like, comment, subscribe, and head to the Power Project Discord below. Talk to y'all later.